Welcome to the Sustainability Nugget podcast. I am Rarasu Maraibi.
And I'm Tosin Folorunsho.
On this podcast, we learn about sustainability by discussing various related topics while focusing on three pillars: the economy, the society, and the environment. Hello guys, welcome back to the Sustainability Nuggets podcast. Happy New Year. It's weird saying Happy New Year actually, because I don't know when to get this.
Anytime. And happy New Year on the 23rd. Wait, what's the date?
We're
21st.
In January. Today's the
21st.
Yeah, so Happy New Year from us, Tosin and Rarasu.
Happy New Year. Happy 2023. That feels better.
Okay.
No longer new.
So this episode is a new series we're starting, and we don't know the name yet. We have a couple of names for it. So, but like the episode is meant to, can you explain what the episode is meant to do? Or the series rather, before we tell them the different names?
Okay, so this series is a very casual one from what we've normally had before. So instead of interviewing people, we would actually be discussing topics amongst ourselves, between me and Rarasu, in a very light format. So it's more like we're just gisting about sustainability issues. And our goal with this is to be able to get people involved in discussions about sustainability, but in a very, very casual setting. And we hope to be able to bring on more guests, like people that aren't necessarily working in sustainability. It can be our friends or just someone who is not even related to working in sustainability at all and wants to learn, just to get their perspective on issues.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So like, because this whole sustainability journey, we need everybody involved, right? Yes, we'll continue interviewing experts on certain topics to know more about that topic, but we want to just like talk about some certain sustainability topics that we know we think of, and we know our like mates, our friends that's not really in the sustainability industry just think of and probably do not want to even be involved in anything sustainability because of their thoughts about such topics. So we hope like in this series we'll be able to actually like discuss what a normal everyday person actually thinks about certain topics. Yeah.
And the goal also is that we need to shift from individual action to collaborative action, because we're at a stage where, as we keep progressing in years, the climate issues keep worsening. And so we need people to collectively take action. At this point, it's not just about, oh, well, I recycle well, or I know how to recycle, or I eat less meat, so I don't eat meat. Everybody needs to come together at this point and make a change. And so that's why we're trying to involve people who do not necessarily work in this space, so that we understand what their challenges are and how they can make an impact, how they can also impact their family or their friends, or make a change in their workplace, even though they don't have sustainability degree or environmental science degree.
Mm-hmm. So even as we are Sustainability Nuggets podcast hosts, we're also not like perfect in this sustainability journey. There are some things that personally I don't agree on, Tosin agrees on, or vice versa, or like I just like we have different views about different things, and so we just hope to learn better. So we're not like the perfect advocates for sustainability. So this will just actually show that part of us more, to show you guys that we're actually just also trying to learn and try to do things that are like factual, like how can we actually make changes in our lives. So after explaining this, let's give you guys the different names we've come up. We talked about Susty Gist series. So Susty Gist, so like sustainability gist,
as in SUSTY. Yeah.
Tosin also talked about maybe making it Sorsty Gist.
Saucy, yeah, like like saucy gist, but saucy has the T, so SAUC SAUSTY, right?
Yeah, so you're saying saucy plus sustainability gist. Yeah. Then I think another one that came up was the imperfect advocates. Right?
Yeah.
So we're going to leave a poll on this episode and even on our Instagram. So another thing, we have an Instagram, a new Instagram account at Sustainability Nuggets. So please follow us there. And so we'll leave a poll there and on like the description of this podcast so that we'll get to finalize the name of this series. So today our focus topic is going to be fast fashion. But before we jump into that, is there any interesting sustainability concepts or news that you came across maybe recently?
Well, the news I have is bad news, unfortunately. Because I mean, it's not funny, but where I live in California, we've been experiencing drought for a while, and then due to the recent extreme weather conditions that have happened, California has experienced a lot of flooding. And it has brought to light the fact that we are not resilient. We have not built resiliency to be able to withstand all of the issues, weather issues that comes with climate change, of course, but the extreme weather issues that we've been having. So a lot of counties were flooded.
Hope it didn't affect where you live though.
Well, so when it didn't really. And then when it started, I wasn't even here. I was in New York.
Oh,
I came back, but it's been extremely cold and just a lot of rain. Like it's strange to have that much rain in California.
Yeah, it's really like the fact that climate change is pushing more extreme weather conditions. But I've always found it weird that like California is experiencing extreme drought but flooding at the same time. Like, I don't know, like it's just like
how that
opposite,
relates, right?
Yeah, like it's because drought is meant to be like a lack of water, right?
Yeah.
But there's now too much water.
So what's going on? I think what happens is, so this is caused by atmospheric river, right? And so the grounds have been dry for so long that as much as it's soaking in water, there's also no space to actually supposed to absorb the water. And so most of it is staying on the topsoil, and it's just and it's too much at once. So it's not, if it's just like rain falling occasionally or once to be or spread out within months, that's better. But it's like inches of rain that we haven't had all coming at once. So it's I think for a week from January 4th, the week of January 4th, it rained all through that week, every single day. And so with in the infrastructure that we have, there's just we don't have that infrastructure that has been planned to be able to withstand that amount of volume of water at once. Yeah.
So for me, like I have a couple, but like of course we don't want this episode to be too long. So I'll say one I just recently found out yesterday. I don't know deeply about it, but I just found it funny. So there's been waste oil theft. So waste cooking oil, like restaurants like discarding their cooking oil, right? But instead of just discarding it, they sell it to biodiesel producers. So people produce biodiesel from waste cooking oil. So that's a renewable form of diesel, right? Yeah. So but now people are actually stealing that waste cooking oil.
So like oil tape, siphoning fossil fuel crude oil.
Yes, just like they used to siphon crude oil, like there's black market. They've transferred it to the green energy economy. It's just so funny, but it's not funny also, but it's just that like we're trying to move to this clean energy economy and all, but the bad behaviors from the crude, the fossil fuel industry is entering here. And that's why I think it's really important that they actually standardize their supply chain. And we have an episode coming up. I think it might have been posted before this or maybe after this, where I interviewed someone in the biodiesel supply chain. So it just shows why it's important to actually have that supply chain, because people are stealing the oil and selling it to producers that know that they stole the oil. It's not nice. So I found it funny.
That's
but also
interesting.
Yeah. So let's get into our focus topic, fast fashion. I'll tell you guys that Tosi is the fashion person, right? So she has more knowledge. Me, I'm a consumer of fashion, and I need to learn more about this fast fashion.
So what am I? Am I not a consumer?
Yeah, she's a consumer, but you're also or you know, used to produce again.
Not currently.
But she
I'm
is
an advocate
she's
for
an advocate, but
sustainable fashion.
yeah, but you're also a fashion designer. Yes. So know that. So what is fast fashion? Let's start with that. What is fast fashion?
So fast fashion is a model of producing collection of garments that, as it implies, it is faster than the traditional one. So in the traditional method of fashion design, there was usually 4 seasons. So according to the seasons that we have, there's spring, autumn, fall, and winter. And then the fashion brands would design a collection for the next season. So it's like a pre-season. So before fall collection, you have, that's why when we had runway shows, right, you would have like fall design collection showing in summer, and then summer design collection will show in spring, and sometimes it would even be a year before. So it takes a while to get like a new collection of clothing produced and available, made available to customers. But now what we are having is that, so for fast fashion, it's like, okay, let's reduce this process. We are mass producing, right? And we want to make this available, and we want to make trends. We want to change the trends like every so often. And so the brands like Zara, H&M, I see that smile. That smile is like okay. Anyway, so those brands would make clothing. At first, it started with like every 6 months, and then it switched to every 3 months, and then now it's like every week. So fast forward from fast fashion, we now have ultra fast fashion, which is like every week or every other week, a new collection is out.
Do you
And
listening to this? Okay, do you also continue if you want?
continue.
Oh, okay. Like the fact, yeah, I get what you're saying, but the fact that them being fast is a problem. I'm like, is that not what we've been? Sorry, we're Nigerians, in case you don't know. Also, but we're living in America.
In case you don't know.
Like, is that not what we are begging our Nigerian tailors to do? Like, give us clothes that way you tell us to give us clothes. Like, we'll give them, we have to lie so that they'll be able to do that. Because if we say, oh, we need this clothes in 1 month.
Oh no, you have to take your clothes like 3 months before so that you get.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, is it not a good thing that people are fast? Like, why is fast a problem?
So the problem with fast is that you are making billions of clothing per year. It has become a problem of overproduction. You are producing more than is actually needed, because most of the brands now have things we call dead stock, which is items they could not sell. What happens to that? That creates waste. And then with the consumer, so the quality has reduced. There's also labor issues. There are people behind these clothes that we are wearing. There are people making it. So so the way we talked about tailors in Nigeria, where you give them clothes 3 months before or a month before, just don't expect that clothes to come, because she has other customers that she's making clothes for, and it's just her. But in this case, it's like you have most women and underage children who are in places like Indonesia, Vietnam, Bangladesh, India. They are paid like 30 cents per day to work like 12 hours. Sometimes they won't even leave the factory to make all this clothing. And then there's a demand, like you must make 100 of these items by tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's
so
ridiculous.
If such brands make the working conditions better, does that improve the concept of fast fashion? Because when you say 30 cents in Indonesia, that's really small, but like we cannot compare what they'll pay in America to what they'll pay in Indonesia, because the living cost is different, right? So let me say in Nigeria, let's say Warri, not Lagos, because Lagos people are expensive. It's not the same. It's not what I'll pay tailor in Lagos that I'll pay in Warri, but I'll even get the same quality or even better. And like the person in Warri is not suffering. Like what I pay them is good for their living condition. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
but what comes with that is that's just one person, right? These people have it might feel like, oh well, it's an economic opportunity. Like, what would they be doing if they didn't have that job?
Exactly. That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah, but there's also the part of how how are they being treated while working?
Yeah.
Like, there's no, for example, in working conditions like that, there is no insurance. If you get injured on the job, you are disposed.
Yeah.
If you say you are sick, you are not getting paid for that day. Some people are exposed to toxic chemicals because that's another, so part of why fast fashion is not good. Apart from the quality and the labor issues involved, there's also the part of the toxic materials that goes into making those clothing. From the stage of, okay, so if it's cotton or polyester, for example, you have clothes in different colors, they are dyed. What kind of dye is it being used?
But do the normal fashion people not use dye?
Which fashion people?
Like the
Luxury
traditional
brands.
fashion people. Eh?
Oh, well, being a luxury brand doesn't mean you're sustainable. That's
Yeah,
another topic for another day.
exactly. Because now, like, you're calling Zara, H&M. So what do you want us to go and be buying like the luxury brand, which is expensive? Because even this Zara, no, they're not even cheap like that too. They're not cheap. So, like, I think
apart from Zara, H&M, even Walmart, Targets, they all of them have fashion lines. And also it's good to, so they're not, you mentioned that if these brands make their working conditions better. So the thing is, it's a supply chain, right? So there may be 100 suppliers or even 50 or 200 suppliers that are working to produce Zara's clothing, which and it's in each production stage. So from if it's cotton they're using, for example, we start from the farmer that planted the cotton, they buy the cotton, then the cotton gets processed, there's another person doing that, probably in another country. So a particular dress might have gone through like 5 different countries before it finally makes it to the consumer. And so it's like, and the luxury brands too, there are issues.
Yeah, I think there are issues in all of them,
places.
but I think where I probably do not agree like with the whole trend is the fact that they're just tagging certain brands. They're just like tagging them, oh, this is bad and this is good. Like they're not calling the luxury ones good.
So they're actually there's a movement.
Is there like an impact study? Is there to show the working conditions of those ones they call good? And like, please, can you give an example of the good or the, I don't know, is it good? Would I call it good? The slow fashion, because it's fast fashion, it's slow fashion.
I can't read that news off my head now, but it's, for me, I would just say that, because yes, actually I do know good brands. So here in California, there's a brand called Mate the Label. They use sustainable materials. They use organic cotton in all of their items that they make. That's the first thing that came to me, sorry. But there are lots of other sustainable fashion brands out there. And the thing is, like, there's also Reformation. It's not like they are perfect at this stage, or they score 100 on there's a scorecard and it's 100% perfect. No, because there are also issues they have to deal with as well. But it's just recognizing, like, with slow fashion, you can't be, if you're just focused on making profit. See how Shein has like grown so much and no one is holding them accountable, which is a problem that the fashion industry generally has. So that's why I'm saying that even the luxury brands are not exempt. You have, so in other, like even fossil fuel production, you have certain pollution regulations, right? Nothing like that exists in fashion until France had passed a law last year that goes into effect this year, that now requires that fashion brands must deal with their own waste. Like, the responsibility is not left to the consumer to deal with the waste. Then in New York also, New York passed the Fashion Act last year to also regulate how textile waste is being recycled. And so until then we had nothing. So it was more like a voluntary thing, and that's why there was a lot of greenwashing, like H&M coming out to say they are doing. And now, not that these brands are not trying to make
because I believe that every brand can actually try to improve. Even if they started out bad, right?
Yes. So for me, like, a thing I don't do is I won't say I won't do it. So boycotting, for example, when people are like, oh, don't buy this brand. The fact is, when you look up sustainable fashion brands, for example, Reformation, I won't be able to buy a cloth on Reformation because it
it's
is not in my
expensive.
budget.
Exactly. So like, how do you now, like, I think we should have it at the back of our mind to try to buy quality things. Like, I'll give you my, like I said, I used to buy from all the ultra fast fashion I've bought.
Yes, but you
So,
can
but like,
also tell when something is quality and when it is
yes,
not quality. And then
yes,
the problem we're also facing now is in Nigeria, if your clothes is bad or something, you have a rip seam or a zipper came loose or something, you can find most likely you find someone that will help you mend it.
true.
Try looking for somebody to
There's one gown now I bought for my birthday one time. Like, I could not even wear it again because the zip spot.
and there was no one to repair it.
Yes, you
And
know, yeah.
yeah, really. So, side note, I used to repair clothing for all of my friends when I was a
As
flyer.
in, when she was in Tampa, I said I just to go and meet, meet everything. But
Yeah.
yeah, like the price tag is also a major problem for like regular folks like us.
Yeah.
Cannot be affording to buy
Yeah.
$200 shirts, $150, like you get. But like I will also say, like, yes, I'll give you my experience with Shein. Like I said, Shein, there used to be like cheap things when you enter, right? And I've tried buying those really cheap things, and trust me, their quality is not good. Like, I bought one gown one time. I wear it once, the second time tinto. I could not wear it again. But do you know, I later, and this is not me advocating for Shein, but I later discovered that there were different levels in
Maybe
Shein.
price levels or
Yes,
quality
yeah.
levels.
But that's the thing. The price reflects the quality on Shein, on Shein, actually.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I've only shopped on Shein once because I got so my sister-in-law gave me Shein gift card for my birthday. And I was like, thank you.
But yeah, so like, Fashion Nova, I used to shop on Fashion Nova, right? Fashion Nova had trending things and all, but trust me, their stuff was it was expensive at a point. And I now discovered that because I'm shopping on Fashion because I like the styles. I now discovered that if you stick on Shein, actually some YouTubers that made me realize that if you go and search Shein properly, you see the styles that you want, but it's not those very cheap ones. Right. So it gives you the same quality with Fashion Nova. Do you get? But Fashion Nova is also ultra fast fashion. So, but it's just that like those cheap ones, really cheap ones on Shein were just really low quality. So this other like tier of stuff is not something you wear once, you wear it a year to get. And I also discovered that they had like different storefronts. So I can see a store on Instagram and maybe I don't know the name of the store. And so I can't buy from, because I've bought things on Instagram that never got delivered, right? But like Shein, for example, it's not possible that they will refund me if it's not delivered. Like it's like they have a structure, right?
So they have other
like they have stuff
brands
like
or
so.
sellers.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think the brands are just selling on their platform.
No, so something like Amazon, but
yes, but for fashion. I know. So, but that doesn't say like, oh, these people are like I feel like everybody like in the fashion industry, like sustainable fashion industry, a standardization should be made. And like, for example, in Amazon, I don't know if they still do it. One time they brought out one climate pledge badge to show like
climate pledge products, right?
Yes, to show products that I
don't know. Fashion
know.
Brands have that too. Like if you shop on go to Nike, go to Adidas, almost all fashion brands now carry that. But we're not really addressing the main problem of, do you have to produce so much in the first place?
Okay.
Because not even everything gets sold, and then the quality. Now I get the fact that, for example, if I'm telling a student,
so like, sorry, but what is like now making up the climate pledge? Because that's the
climate
next
pledge,
like the badge, because it should be that they are meeting certain criteria before they are like putting that badge. It should not just be greenwashing and say, oh, this is green, or do you get what I'm saying? Like Amazon now, I believe that is a big company that should have a sustainability team to be able to assess products before they actually include it in their climate-friendly product?
So climate pledge, for Amazon sustainability, the climate pledge is a commitment to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2040.
Okay. So it's just talking about the environmental impacts.
Yeah. So what they're saying, like if you buy a product that has the climate pledge friendly badge, then it means that something in the process of production has been made to meet that target. So it's like Amazon has like different sellers on different brands. So it's like filtering out the sustainable brands amongst them, or sustainable suppliers.
But we're saying sustainable.
That's the thing, like
that
it
doesn't really mean sustainable, because this net zero is talking about just energy. So
just energy, right? Right.
Not even the entire, just energy part of the environment.
Yes. So it can be, maybe this company only uses solar, or they have found a way to reduce their energy usage, or they have found a way to be energy efficient. They can be a plethora of things that make up what makes them what makes them included as part of being climate friendly, or having net zero emissions. So it could also be like, okay, maybe this was made locally. Like if I'm shopping for something that is produced in California compared to something that is produced in China, it has to be shipped all the way. That's definitely reduced emissions. Yeah.
So, but like from what you've told me, fast fashion and ultra fashion is, you should not only look at like the environmental, like in sustainability, environment is one part, but we have the social, there's also the people, economic, right? Yeah. So the social part, which is really how they are treating their workers, like there should be a standardization for that. Yeah. And it should be transparent to like the public, so that we can make informed decisions. Yeah. But another thing is really the economy, because you really need to produce products at price point for people in different economic, let's say sector. Do you know what I'm talking about? Classes. Yeah. Because not everybody can afford a certain price point, right? But
so that's the argument that these brands will make. Like, we are making clothing available to every person, middle income, low income class. You all there's a place for you. There's a
but I think like equality should be standard there should be a minimum quality standard. And for me, like off my heart, like I'm like, if there's a sustainable brand that you want to make price point for everybody, then maybe there should be a second-hand version, right? That will be
second-hand, or I'm a big advocate for repairs and the availability of, should I say, maintenance, not even only on clothing at this point. On most products, there's something we call planned obsolescence, which is your products are now being made to break down after a certain period of time. And so, and then you don't have opportunities to actually get them fixed. So it's pushing you to go and buy a new one. When you want to repair a phone and it's like, oh, well, you need this particular amount, which is almost how much you would pay if you are maybe paying installmentally to fix it. I'm like, I'll just buy another one instead of repairing it. I recently bought a vacuum, and the vacuum I bought, it hasn't been up to a year. It has stopped working.
Okay. But like when you talked about that phone one, for like Apple, even if we're going to change it, like we're giving them it back to them. So
that is progress. But that definitely is progress. But there are other electrical appliances. Like there's just a lot of things you can think of now that are electrical appliances, and how many things can you find a fix for? And so if your toaster gets broken, do you know where to take it to? If your microwave oven gets broken, if your refrigerator gets broken, like you'd have to call these companies to help. Most likely they're the ones that would come help you fix it. And usually the fix is either a replacement. So why is it that we can't actually fix the one that is broken? That's so with fashion, I would say it's really making available opportunities for people to be able to repair their clothing, or also, and this now comes to the consumer, like being educated on knowledge can be a privilege too. Like the reason I know so much that I know is because I did my research about these things, and it's because I'm also just really passionate about reducing waste. I don't like the concept of waste. Like I feel nothing should be thrown away, everything can be used. And because of the culture we came from.
Exactly. I was about to say, Africans don't know what you're talking about, because there's Obioma, do you know what Obioma is? Do you know what
People that
Obioma is?
repair. Yoruba land we call them ejikane shop. Like,
Yeah.
you remember those tailors that would put their sewing machines on
Machines,
their
yeah.
shoulder.
Yeah. Yeah, they are there.
There's
But
and
but like even in this place, right? If you go to the mall, I think you see tailors, but honestly, I've not used any one of them because I just feel like they're expensive. But maybe they are not though. Are they?
some aren't. If you go
Yeah.
to like a dry cleaner's place, you would most likely find someone that does alterations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's
That's
not
something.
widely available. And
Mhm.
so what I do within my job, like one of the events that I host is a repair clinic, and it's providing access to that. When you ask people like, do you know you can repair their clothing? Where? Most people just don't know. Like, so
Yeah.
it's creating that awareness, communicating and engaging with people that you can actually there are opportunities like this. And I also try to teach people, like, if you are able to, I know not everyone has the luxury of time to say, oh, I will get a sewing machine and I can learn how to repair my own clothing. Not everyone can do that. But
Or if you
it's
can get them. My mother
it,
told me when I was growing up, she told me that.
that was, you should get a sewing machine.
She told me a virtuous woman always has a sewing kit. Yes, honestly. And I had to have my, like, I know how to sew.
Oh,
Right.
that's good.
Yeah, I do
Wait,
know.
I did not know that. Really?
Yeah, I do know how to sew. It's just like I didn't continue it. Like, so I don't know how to use machine, right? But my mother knew how to use machine, but she, like, I know how to like tag down. Yeah, I can actually like.
So you can
sew
survive
it
if you're at the wedding reception.
Yes, yeah.
Do you know I've had many experiences with going to a party or a wedding. I recently went to a party last July, and I had my sewing kit with me, and there were like up to 5 people that I had to help them with their dress.
So let's know, so that the episode doesn't go too long. Let's just close on like.
So for
point.
action items. Now I understand not everybody can afford sustainable fashion brands. There are some sustainable fashion brands that I cannot afford either. But there are other options out there depending on where you are. If you are from a US standpoint, there's secondhand clothing, and
thrift stores.
Yeah, there are thrift stores, and there's even an online consignment company called ThreadUp. I've actually shopped.
What?
ThreadUp.
ThreadUp.
THRED up.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there is, if you can learn how to at least mend your own clothing, and then also thinking about how to care for your clothing so they last longer. Learning how to care for your clothing. Read the labels. I've learned it takes deliberate effort, but I've learned to read the labels, the care instructions that come with clothing. It is always attached usually on the left side of the seam. Inside, if you check inside your clothes, you see there's always a white
star. I know we're already taking long, but I want to talk about that checking. Actually, it's very important to check labels, even apart from this, to know the chemicals. There was one cloth, I think it was from Fashion Nova, that I think I was about to buy. My sister now saw a video of one girl reading what was in the label. She's like, don't buy it. Like, that's something that could affect female health. Like,
Oh, we could go into we have a podcast coming up where we'll talk about healthy clothing, and it's also thinking about your health when you choose clothing. That's a separate conversation for another day. So yeah, like read the care instructions. Some clothing will say don't wash only in cold water. Well, I wash all my clothing in cold water now because it's warm. If you're washing consistently in warm water, it actually would destroy the clothes faster.
What about the dry?
So if you are able to, it is recommended that you actually dry, like air dry most of the clothing.
But you know most
of it's not always practical. So in that case, what I do is you can get dryer balls or like dryer sheets. So it dries faster. And then for me, I never use the high heat function. It's usually between ultra low or medium when I have to dry my clothes. But because we're also in the cold season and it's been raining and there's a lot of humidity, my clothes don't get dry faster, so I've had to use the dryer often. But what I do is I set it to the lowest heat, and it's at between 60 minutes. I use dryer balls as well, and it comes out dry. In summer, we have a lot of sun in California. It gets really hot. So I'm able to just wash my clothing, and then I put them I spread them out. I have like drying rack, and I spread them on the rack to dry. There are also some clothing that you don't have to wash every time, like denim. Yeah, you don't have to wash them every time. And sometimes you can even just spot clean. So if it's a stain that it has, you could target doing once a month. You might say, oh, that's dirty. It's actually not dirty. Once you are able to hair dry, when you come back, take off your pants and make them dry, sit out for a while just to dry. And then you can put them back in your closet. If you have stains on them, you can actually spot clean that stain instead of washing the jeans every time. It also makes your jeans last longer. Yeah. So if you are able to make your clothes last longer, then you don't have to always buy every time.
I think makes it last longer. You don't. Then sometimes even like when we make it last longer, we just want to buy, right? So instead of just throwing your clothes away, for me, I take it to like Salvation Army. So like your clothes that is still in good condition, right? Take it to places like that they can give it to people that need clothing. Then for clothes,
I would recommend find a local charity organization that would actually give it to people that are in need within that region. Because what happens sometimes is most of Goodwill, nothing against them, Salvation Army is like, it's passed to people around the community, but also most of it gets shipped out of the country to Africa. And that is
to sell.
Yeah, that's what makes up secondhand economy in Nigeria and other African countries.
I don't know.
So those clothing are shipped in bill. So when you donate your clothing and you give it out, it's shipped in bills to places like Ghana, Nigeria, and so that's why you have a whole secondhand market in those industries.
Then you can also try to resell clothes that you don't like. Me saying this is me talking to myself. There are some clothes I've worn only once, and I don't know anything in that. But like it's just in my closet because I've no either like I give it to someone at the end of the day, or there's an I know that they can resell.
So you can resell on ThreadUp. You can resell on Poshmark. With ThreadUp, it's like it's easier because you just ship the clothing to them. But with Poshmark or other like brands like online platforms like Mercari, so for that one you have to post the item yourself, ship it yourself, and all that. It's if you're willing to do that more work. I don't have the time to do it. So.
I think it's the Mercari I knew. So just the whole idea of snapping, shipping, I just left it. So I'll check those other ones. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Please let us know what you think about this topic, like the whole fast fashion discussion. Do you think it's not really a thing, or do you think what are the ways you think it can be better, or what are your thoughts against it? So if you're against it, if you're for it, let us know. Remember to follow us on Instagram. You can tell us on Instagram or on YouTube.
Feedback,
you can comment. And I think we'll be leaving like a form on this like episode, on the screen of the episode, for like questions and all, so that you can send in questions.
If there's also any topic you'd like to like us to discuss, actually, you can submit that in the form when we make it available.
So thank you guys, and see you in our next episode. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Sustainability Nuggets podcast. I am Rarsu Maribi.
And I am Tosin Folarunshaw. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave a rating and review on wherever you listen to your podcast.
You can also show your support by signing up for a small donation to help sustain future episodes. You can find all relevant links in the description. See you in our next episode.